Hello, Mel here. Here to give you my first impression for the latest episode of The Flash. First things first is I love The Flash. It's one of the best shows left on the DC TV network, I guess you could call it. So, the good thing about The Flash is a diverse group of people, and Flash is still always right. One of the things about the Arrow that I didn't like is, when Arrow would always have something that he was completely sure about. Everybody argued with him, and then he changed his mind. Same thing happened in the last few seasons of Black Lightning. No matter what the Black Lightning said, the rest of his family, his wife and daughters would argue with him, and then he'd change his mind. So it's good that Flash is one of the few shows stands behind what he says and tries to be that kind of hero. So let's move into season 8, episode 1. First things first is isn't there a second Ray? I know that or a second Adam, should I say? So Ray Palmer doesn't want to be the Adam anymore. He wants to retire. So wouldn't it be great to just reintroduce the character that you gave us during the last crossover event? Since in theory you should want the crossover events to connect, but and then from that point, if it is a crossover, why did Ray leave? Shouldn't he stay there to help with? So I didn't really get what was going on there. And speaking of people who left, isn't Joe West supposed to be on the show? And if he isn't, is that what happened when Chester apologized to Cecile when he mentioned somebody dying? He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did we miss Joe dying in the past 6 months? And they just aren't going to tell us about it yet because he was very much alive when he was talking to Kramer there at the end of season 7. So wish they would clear that up. And what happened to his kids? I get that they need to be gone, but wouldn't they have already known about what was going to happen at this point? I mean, they know the past, so wouldn't they have shown up to help? But don't give me the time travel because I would talk your head off about that. And then speaking of family, Barry's family, was it just me or was Iris very wooden? Even when she was complimenting Allegra about how much of a good boss she could be, which by the way is not how you promote somebody. Not everybody is cut out to be a boss, no matter how good they are at the job. They should first want to be a boss. So that was weird on Iris's part. And the second thing is, if you try to promote somebody against their will twice, you're a bad supervisor. Okay, so moving right along. The other thing is, speaking of bad supervisors, Captain Kramer, you know, uh, she's around and while Barry's doing his CSI work, and Barry questions her on how her powers work. It pretty much that's foreshadowing that she's going to figure out he's a Flash because she's going to be around when she gets threats, excuse me, and she's going to figure out he's the Flash. Let's call it the end of the season, penultimate episode. You don't mention things like that without it actually happening. So, um, or else that was very clunky writing, which they don't usually do much. So I'm calling it. Captain Kramer is going to find out he's the Flash by the second to last episode. And so that brings us to the legends. And as did I let me rewind. Ray keeps talking about the legends and how he doesn't know what's going on with them and he can't connect with them. I feel like you have to watch the legends to get what's going on, and I don't want to do that. So they should kind of just tell us what's going on or bring the other legends because we could just do some guessing all we want or spend a bunch of hours watching a show that some of us don't want to watch. So clear up what the legends are doing or don't bring it up. So that brings us to the bad guy, Despero. Of course, he's usually purple in the comics, and Don't know if that's what they were trying to go for with the special effects. Special effects could have been better. But so Despero, he usually is a Green Lantern enemy or foe rather. He did go against Young Justice, and I believe Young Justice season two. He fought Superboy, Miss Martian, and Guardian. In Brave and the Bold, he Batman, Brave and the Bold. I'm sorry, somebody might not want me to abbreviate that one. He was a Green Lantern enemy. And then in Justice League, he was a Green Lantern enemy. So, maybe we'll get a version of Green Lantern showing up here. Hint, hint. Um, oh yeah, I guess I should clear this up that you guys might not know. I'm not one of those spoiler people. I avoid spoilers. I don't look at casting news because that's a good way to get spoiled. Um, and my example of proving my point is imagine if you watch Marvel's Captain America Civil War, and you didn't know Spider-Man was going to be in there. Just imagine it. You didn't see the trailers, you didn't see the casting news, you just watched the movie and you didn't know Spider-Man was going to be in it. Imagine just how great that would have felt. And that's why I avoid trailers the last 3 months before a movie comes out and casting news, or I try to avoid casting news. Sometimes the TPE network just throws casting news on me, and I don't really have a chance to protect myself. Hint, hint. But moving right along, Despero is he seemed okay. He seemed like a decent, sympathetic villain. It looks like basically he's just trying to prevent the end of the world or end of his world. He kept saying. So we'll see. Um, and that brings us to the oh yeah, the Royal Flush Gang was in the episode. As you could tell, I wasn't impressed with them because we have better villains in the episode. And how did they cause crimes 3 times before Barry or the Flash shows up and stops them? Because it feels like if Barry's as fast as he says because he has these upgrades, and they kept throwing around the word upgrades a lot in this episode. Was I the only one who noticed that? Upgrade and level up. They really kept throwing that around there. But regardless, if Barry is even faster than he used to be, they shouldn't have. And it shouldn't have taken them 3 times to stop them. Actually, I say three, but it's actually four because you count the train, the uh, the time when they went against the security guards, and then the prison break. So actually, Barry stopped them on their fourth crime. So it's really weird that it took 4 times to stop them. But one of those things about doing a first impressions is I think it's a good time to do a first impression because when you watch an episode, if you have time to think about it, there's outside influences. My great example for you is when I watched uh, episode one, Clone Wars, episode one, Phantom Menace. Excuse me. The first time I watched it, I said, "Okay, my bad." I love Darth Maul. I love that fight. I loved everything. And then the internet told me, "Oh, actually, you didn't like that movie. That movie's terrible." So now the movie's terrible to me. So I think first impressions are always great because you get your real feelings out there. But hopefully you guys agree, and ho- I'll try to keep doing this. And I had fun, and hopefully you have fun listening to me stumble across my first impressions. And hopefully I could talk to you guys soon again about this. Uh, Hopefully we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.